Alright guys, this is an update video of the rules. In my last video that I did through the adventuring part, I actually must have missed a step. And thank you to the wonderful viewers that have pointed it out in such a caring way, and even went to the great lengths of trying not to offend me, and they acknowledged me. And so thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. You've really helped me get to know the rules a little bit better. And so I'm going to kind of go back to the targeting. That's where I had the issue with. And so they said on page 25, which I had missed. And so here, let me see. It says dying combat, foe turn. Okay, attacking, foe turn. So I'm going to start here with foe turn. That each foe encountered will take the following actions every turn in this order. Afflictions act first, followed by creatures with the highest Vita. Creatures controlled by characters act after all enemies have completed their turn. So I'm wondering if that means like the animal companions, they would act after the foes went. So foe melees, denoted by the sword icon or a ranged icon. During this turn, if multiple characters are equal distance from a creature, the controller using a targeting die. So the targeting die is, so opening up the rule book and how the targeting works, these are the potential targeting die here. And so for a two-player game, you would use the D4. So a 1 and 2 would be for the player 1, and then for a 3 and 4 would be player 2. And again, if you look at the top of the sheets here, see there's numbered, that's how you figure who's 1, who's 2, who's 3, who's 4, who's 5. And then for a 3-player game, you would use the D6. And so for a 1 and 2, that would be the first player. For a 3 and 4, second player. For 5 and 6, that would be the third player. And then for a 4-player game, you use the D4 for targeting. And then for a 5-player game, use a D10 and divide that by 2. So like 1 and 2 would be player 1, 3, 4, player 2, 5, 6, player 3, 7, 8, player 4, 9, 10. So not necessarily really dividing, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. So it says here that since these basically equal or higher, or it says equal distance from the chosen character or whatever, or it says that the melee foes or even ranged enemies will attack creatures, and to determine where they're going after, and if there's equal distance between 2 or more characters, that's where they use the targeting die before they move. And so I guess the way I would play this is if the controller, the person sitting next to, on the left of the main player 1, I guess, like the one who has the start token, or the player token, which is the moon token, would get to control. So I would actually let them choose where the monsters are going to go, unless they're not really being fair, or I would stick to the rules. Okay? And so I think the rule books even says somewhere that you can actually kind of implement your own rules as long as all the characters agree. Because like they said, there's going to be times where the rules aren't going to make sense, and then the players can, because of the nature of the role-playing game. Okay. Also, you could potentially play this with a 6-player game. You might even be able to do it more if you had more characters, and just be able to adjust health points and whatnot of the monsters to make it a little harder. But even if you had a 6-player game, the 6th player was like the DM. I mean, this game does a good job without the DM, but the 6th player could potentially control everything, all the aspects of the world, keep track of what's going on in the world, while the players just keep track of their heroes. But anyways, and so like for this wolf, since these 2 heroes would be equal distance, I could potentially roll the D4 to figure out which one that's going to go after them. Or I would suggest that the player to the left of the leader token would control it. But for the nature of this game, we're just going to stick to the rules for this. And so he would roll D4, he rolled a 1, And so it's either between these two, and so I'm going to say this is 1, this is 2, and so 1 would be this guy, the archaeologist, so the wolf would go, and his movement is stride. So then go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he would attack. But I'm not going to go into that right now. Okay. And then this wolf, since these two are equal distance, I'm going to go 1, 2. Because this one's a lower number than this one. The witch hunter was the player 3. He was the newest one added after I had the friar and the archaeologist. And so I'm going to call him Senor Belmont, and I call him, or sorry, he's Senor Belmont, he's Friar Tuck. And then the witch hunter I named Gerald. And so since he's the lower on the track, of the player number track, 1 and 2. And so they roll a 3, so this wolf's going to go after him. And go 1, 2, and then he can attack diagonal. But I don't have to do that. I can actually move it here to have him attack straight on. That way the friar would actually get a chance to hit at him. And then this wolf, obviously would just move 5. Because he's not actually going to be able to attack this round. So, kind of read through that again. If multiple characters are equal distance from a creature, the controller uses a targeting die, like I just showed you, to determine which character the foe attacks. If any characters are already adjacent to the melee enemy, they will not move. Melee foes have the following behaviors. Will move to avoid any hazardous terrain or features, such as flames, as long as they can reach a target. And then the part that I got hooked up on is that it says foe attacks. And so each attack of the creature's rolls would be performed by rolling the targeting die and the attack die. That's where I got hung up on, because it says that you have to roll those dice. But however, again, going back to like this here or this here, if the player to the left thought it was best to do it random, or to just have that creature constantly attacking the one hero, they could actually use the targeting die. So like, let's say this wolf attacked this guy last round because that's where he rolled the targeting die. So instead of rolling the targeting die with the attack die, I would roll this separately to see which hero he's going to attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so let's say he goes after this guy now, so he turns that way. You could do it that way. The reference card has it a little more specific. Targeting characters, melee foes if adjacent to more than one character, using a targeting die to determine its target. Ranged foes, choose the appropriate target die based on how many characters are in sight. Okay, so here it says to roll together, but I would recommend rolling the targeted die separate every time. Just that way you can differentiate where the target is, instead of trying to do it all together. But hopefully this has cleared things up for you guys. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much in my last video. The part I was hung up on, I'm not going to completely rate the game based on how I thought it was, because obviously it's been cleared up. However, it's just this section of the rule book I'm going to probably have in the review, just because they should, I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you guys believe this too, that it'd just be easier if it just read roll the targeting die separate first, just to make it more streamlined. And I say streamlined because you know the direction everything needs to be moving in. Because if someone just referred to this page here, like I did, instead of going back to page 25, that's where the confusion began. But it's not going to alter my review too bad. I mean, this game so far is really good. It's great. And if you guys haven't noticed, if you can see my tabletop, I got the game all set up inside my table now. And so I can actually start doing the playthrough. And that's why I have everything set up here like I do. I'm probably not going to start it tonight, I'm currently working on some homework that I got to get done, but I have the game fully set up in my table, and I can put the tabletop on and leave the stuff inside, and I'm not going to even worry about it because it'll just be ready to play, and I can just hit it running. All right, thanks again. See you guys next time.